Well, our next guest gave up a high-flying corporate job to hike 3,000 kilometres down the length of New Zealand.
Since then, Laura Waters has been all over the world on foot, and her latest book showcases some of the best walks and hikes in Australia. And she's made the trek into the studio this morning. Laura, thanks for joining us on News Breakfast.
That's the shortest walk you've done most recently.
That's it, from the station.
Can you tell us what sparked this all for you? I mean, that is a massive trek across New Zealand.
Yeah.
Why did you do that? Why did you tackle it?
I've always had a love of nature and hiking, and I just always felt as though there had to be more to life than what I was doing, and I was looking for a challenge. And then I read in a hiking magazine about this new trail that had opened, Te Araroa, and I just immediately thought, that's it, that's what I'm going to do.
And was it challenging initially for somebody who hadn't done much hiking in the past?
Yeah, look, my longest hike had been the Overland Track at 65 kilometres.
Oh, that's nothing to sneeze at.
No.
But yeah, I just got very single-minded about it, and I wasn't in a great headspace at the time. I was suffering anxiety and depression, and I just needed to Control-Alt-Delete, just a reset. And I started hiking, and within about 3 weeks on the trail, I was like, oh, I feel all right now.
And how did you feel at the end of it?
Very calm, and the whole trail, when you're facing lots of challenges in the wild, you get a lot of resilience, and you learn to trust yourself, self-confidence, and just all that peace and quiet being out in nature, which is what I love now and what I'm passionate about hiking. Nature, I feel, it's like a tuning fork. So the time you spend out there, it just sort of calms you down and
100%.
Yeah.
So tell us about your latest book. I mean, you've featured hikes and walking trails right across Australia.
Yeah.
Did many surprise you, or either with their challenges or the fact they were even there?
Yeah, there was a few that I hadn't come across before, but I think picking 40 hikes across the whole country, that was probably one of the hardest parts about writing this book. So there's some from a few hours long up to a few months long.
Wow.
But the good thing is that pretty much every hike in the book I've given shorter options or easier options, so you don't have to do the whole thing. So there's a way to do it for everybody.
So how would you say to someone if they want to start but they don't know where to start, they're not sure on their abilities or what they should do, what would be your advice to them?
To go with friends who have done it before, or to go with a hiking club or a meet-up group. There's lots of meet-up groups for hiking. And then you just sort of pick up some skills along the way, but basically just pick a hike that's within your experience level and tell someone where you go before you go.
It's
Plenty of food and water.
Great ideas, and I'm just looking at the pages of advice here. You got some great advice on blisters.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Which afflict lots of us who go on walks.
Yeah, friction is the enemy.
Yeah.
So getting the right socks and airing your feet, keeping them dry, maybe taping up hot spots. If you start to get a little niggle, you definitely want to treat it before it turns into a massive problem.
Of all these fabulous walks that you chronicle in this book, could you choose one as your favourite in Australia?
That's very hard. But the one that always pops into my head is the Larapinta Trail in the outback.
Yep. Right in the middle.
So west of Alice Springs, and there's just a real energy in the outback. It's palpable, and you just get this real sense of the history of the land and the peace and quiet. There's no other sounds except the sounds of nature, so I really love that one.
Well, now obviously you go on a lot of hikes, a lot of walks.
Yep.
Do you prefer going by yourself or with a group?
I do tend to hike a lot on my own, but that's kind of circumstantial, I think. I'm happy to hike with other people, but I do like to keep it quiet. It's easy in a group to sometimes talk all the time and you forget about where you are because your mind is, thinking about your job or whatever you're talking about.
Especially if there's a big talker in the group, which can be very annoying sometimes.
I like to, hug a tree and touch the rock and, just listen to the sounds of nature a bit. Well, and in that peace, that's where the epiphanies and the clear thought comes. So I kind of like that space just to switch the brain off.
Yeah, well, obviously that first hike had a real profound effect on you, and that's something now you want to keep going with.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Laura, thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank
Your
you.
book is fantastic.
Yes, I just feel like going for a long walk now. Thank you.
What we want.
Yeah, no, highly
Walking out
recommend
the studio and not coming
which
back
I will
in.
soon, yes.